A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Sri Lankan black panther said to be extinct reappears in the Sripada zone. Accidental discharge of firearm by Hungama police officer kills monk. Government says the EU decided to extend GSP Plus concession until 2023.
ඒක දීර්ඝවීමක් සිද්ධ වෙලා නැහැ. අවුරුදු කිහිපයක් යනකම් අපිට ඒක තියෙනවා.
NASA reveals that Australian bushfires have impacted global climate.
Now the stories in detail. A terror passed away after a gun misfired during an altercations that broke out in the process of arresting a suspect in Hungama.
Two police officers were patrolling the Deniayapara area under the Hungama Police Division this morning and had ordered a suspicious motorcyclist to pull over. However, the police said the motorcyclist kept on travelling without heeding to police orders, and a fight broke out after the two police officers chased the motorcyclist and tried to apprehend him near the Bulletin junction in the area. While attempting to arrest the motorcyclist, a firearm belonging to one police officer was accidentally discharged, injuring one Thero who was travelling in a van that was carrying 8 Theros. According to the police, the Thero has passed away after being admitted to the Angunukola Palace Divisional Hospital. The police followed the motorcyclist for about 600 meters. I saw him turning the motorcycle to the right. However, two police officers were able to apprehend him. As they were trying to get hold of him and tackle him, I tried to avoid the scene and drive by the side of the road. I heard gunshot sounds as the vehicle was passing the scene. Thereafter, the Thero behind me collapsed. At the time of his demise, Venerable Unavatune Seelaratana Thero was at the age of 22 years. According to our correspondent, the Thero was a first-year student at the Buddhist and Pali University in Homagama and was to travel to the university this evening.
He came to our house and told us that he will be going to the university. Then he was summoned by the Mahanayaka to attend the almsgiving before going to the campus. He had come home for a 10-day holiday.
The suspect who tried to flee has been arrested, and according to the police, information has been surfaced that the suspect engages in heroin smuggling. Further investigations regarding the incident are being carried out by Assistant Police Superintendent of the Tangol Police Division, Ratnavira L. Adasurya.
The Wildlife Department has been able to retrace the Sri Lankan black panther who was once considered to be extinct. This could be the first time that a Sri Lankan black panther was caught on camera.
Out of 8 species of panthers living in the world, the subspecies Sri Lankan panther is extraordinary due to its limited population. News about the last black panther was reported previously from Mavuldenia pitadenia, when the animal was found dead in a trap. Thereafter, the animal's hide was displayed in the Giritale Wildlife Museum as the final trace of the Sri Lankan black panther. However, the Wildlife Department, who are currently engaging in an island-wide survey on Sri Lanka's panthers, managed to change history by finally ending up with a live piece of evidence. While the Wildlife Department had installed various remote motion sensing cameras in places believed to have black panthers roaming, on the 26th of October, one of these cameras was able to capture this footage. The department who acted on the evidence was finally able to prove that the Sri Lankan black panther is no longer an animal limited to history by being able to capture more and more similar footage. They've also managed to discover that there lies a female animal, a male and 2 cubs in the same border. The investigation team was headed by Dr. Malakabe Wardana and Dr. Manoj Akalanka of the Wildlife Department, while technical support for the operation was provided by the Tropical Ecosystem Research Networks organization. These panthers are black in color as an adaptation to the dark and cold environment that they live in. Their black-colored skin helps them to hunt and protect themselves from enemies. As the Wildlife Department, we would like to note that these species of panthers should be protected not only by the Wildlife Department but by the general public as a whole.
අපේ සමාජයක් වශයෙන් මේ සතුන් ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම අපි හැමෝගෙම වගකීම.
The 34 suspects who were arrested in connection to a clash between two groups in Katharagama have been remanded until the 22nd of this month. Our correspondent said a member of the Sitavaka Pradesh Sabha is also among them.
The arrested group on a pilgrimage to Katharagama from Habarana and Padukka. According to the police, the clash had taken place last evening following a heated argument between a group of residents who had protested while the Pradeshia Sabha member and others had been bathing naked in the Manikganga while under the influence of alcohol. The suspects had assaulted the villagers and 5 of them were admitted to the hospital after sustaining injuries. Newsfirst, in possession of the mobile phone footage, obtained the following after the incident.
These people were bathing in the river without any clothes. We shouted and told them that our mothers and sisters also bathe there and that they should not bathe there without clothes and that they should leave. Suddenly they came around and started to assault us. There were about 25 to 30 people. They attacked us for more than 30 minutes. Suddenly they brought a knife. When they were about to attack me, I dodged it, but the policeman was injured.
The suspects were remanded after being produced before the Tissa Maharama acting magistrate Krishant Abesinghe.
Minister of Industrial Export and Investment Promotion says that the European Union has agreed to provide the GSP Plus to Sri Lanka until the year 2023.
The ministry says that this was agreed upon during a meeting between officials of the EU and Minister Prasanna Ranatunga. According to a release sent out by the ministry, there would be no change to the related observation process. The announcement came following talks with EU Sri Lanka's head of political, trade and communications section, Thorsten Bargfreder, today. The GSP concession is heavily enjoyed by the apparel industry of the country. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga had pointed out that apparel exports represent 43% of the country's total exports. $5 billion is added to the economy as export earnings from the apparel sector annually. The minister has thanked the member countries of the European Union for their support in this regard. However, Dr. Harsha De Silva had this to say regarding the media release sent out by the ministry.
I was instrumental in obtaining the GSP tax concession. When Mangala Samravira was taking care of the political side at the foreign ministry, I had to take care of the economic side. I went to Brussels. I am therefore very well aware of the GSP. There has been no extension. Sri Lanka has now gone to the upper middle income earning status. We will remain in that position in the coming years. Then this will go away. There is no extension. We will receive this until this gets updated. If these people create some trouble and lose that position, then we might continue to get this. Other than that, we will not.
Dr. Harsha De Silva also commented about the current economic situation of the country.
We have to repay $6 billion as debt and related interest. Last week, S&P made the country's outlook negative. Fitch did it 3 weeks ago. Moody's is the only rating agency that remains. Their outlook will also be made public in the coming week or so. The government will have to either increase the taxes once again. But since they want to get a 2/3 majority, they won't be able to do it. They will have to obtain foreign loans. Then we will have to pay a high interest as a result of the negative rating outlooks. The central bank has announced that they will provide further loan concessions for small and medium-scale sector entrepreneurs. There is no issue in doing that, but when they do so, they will have to face certain issues in the banking sector. The country has signed an agreement with the IMF. We have signed an external fund facility agreement. We have obtained 7 tranches. We have to obtain the 8th tranche. Before these people took over, they said these agreements will be torn apart, and they said that these are of no use. They said they don't care about the IMF. Now they are asking the IMF to stop and that they are sorry. They say now that they will continue this agreement forward. Now everybody understands that irrelevant of what was said in the political stage, the reality is that these people are in some way connected to these agreements that have been made.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has decided to obtain another loan to settle the debts owed to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation.
Spokesman for the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy, Sulakshana Jayawardena, said the loan is expected to be obtained through a state bank. The total amount to be paid to the CPC stands at a staggering 84 billion rupees. Previously, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation had informed the Ceylon Electricity Board several times that fuel would not be provided to them if the loan was not paid.
According to the Department of Meteorology, showery conditions are expected to enhance to some extent, particularly in the southwestern part of the island and in the eastern, north central, Ua and central provinces during the next few days from tomorrow.
The Met Department forecasts within the next 24 hours, showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Sabaragamuwa and western provinces and in the Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara districts after 2 p.m. Meanwhile, paddy fields near the harvest have been damaged due to the rains that have hit the Jaffna and Kilinochchi areas during the past few days.
The harvest gets flooded because of the rain. When you hire people, it costs around 35,000 rupees per acre. After it's wet, the shop owner takes it for a lesser price.
In the meantime, some parts of the island have been hit hard by the dry weather condition.
Water supply has been limited to the Galle and Gampaha districts due to the prevalent dry weather. According to the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, water supply to the Galle city will be restricted on a daily basis between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. from next week onwards.
Our special project for the Gampaha district is nearing completion. Until then, the supply will be low. We expect to provide water to the areas in Galle, particularly Habaraduwa, Ahangama, Akmimana and Bope Poddala, by suspending water in the Galle town after 11 p.m. onwards.
The General Manager added if the dry weather prevails, water supply to Anuradhapura, Kantale and Bandaravela areas will be limited. Due to the prevailing weather, people in Kaluthara have been severely affected by the rapid increase of seawater mixing in the Kaluganga. This is what happens to us every day during dry season. We have to drink salt water every day and there is no way of washing our clothes. We haven't received water yet. Currently, more than 300,000 people in Vaduwa, Kaluthara, Payagala, Beruwala, Alutgama and Benthara areas receive this water through the Kethena water purification plant.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that all job-seeking graduates will be recruited immediately for government jobs based on the subjects they have studied.
President made these remarks when a group of people representing island-wide graduates met with him at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The President's Media Division said information on vacancies available in government, semi-government and departments were collected and graduates will be recruited soon to fill them. These recruits will be provided with formal training and knowledge on leadership and public service.
As you know, there are some instances where you have to end up on the road even after obtaining a degree. Therefore, they don't have an issue of graduating whenever. But if you see that you can apply for a job soon after obtaining the degree, you have to go for it. Take for an example our students overseas. They are waiting to finish the due units and come home as soon as possible. That is what should happen in a university. You should remember this regardless of in what field you have applied for the degree. You have to prepare and form your knowledge suitable for the future economic state of the country.
Yet another public gathering organized by the United National Party to thank the party faithfuls who supported the presidential election was held in Biagama yesterday.
The meeting was chaired by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. Parliamentarian Ruwan Wijewardena organized the event.
If the government gets a two-thirds majority, we will have to ask whether there will be a future for this country. We have another challenge ahead of us, the general election. We need to work towards this with dedication. We know that Sajith is a young leader who has worked immensely towards the party. With his strength, we must all be committed to working towards the victory of the next election.
දැන් ගම්පහ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ඇමතිවරයෙක් කියලා තියෙනවා.
A minister from the Gampaha district has said that in order to implement the manifesto, they need a two-thirds majority at the next election. Dear friends, there is no need to wait till April or May in order to obtain a two-thirds majority. There is no need to postpone it. They said the fertilizer will be given free of charge. Jobs will be given in millions. And they said that the problem of unemployed graduates will be solved by January. The government must work towards fulfilling these people-friendly promises. They have appointed various committees to investigate whether the MCC is good or not. Recently, a group of US representatives had come to hold discussions with the government. They told that a report will be compiled. Did they talk about reports on MCC during the election?
ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී ජනතාවට කිව්වේ MCC කිවිසුම ගැන වාර්තාද?
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he was surprised by the statement made by the United National Party regarding the MCC agreement.
Issuing a communique, the Prime Minister said that the UNP cabinet had decided to sign the MCC agreement a few days before the presidential election. The Prime Minister stressed that under no circumstance will his government sign such an agreement in secret without informing the Parliament and the general public. In his communique, the Prime Minister added that his government will not sign any agreement detrimental to the country.
Why is Ranil Wickremesinghe still the party leader despite so much backlash from many UNP members? Several views were expressed in this regard.
ඔබතුමාලා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මන්ත්‍රීතුමා නායකත්වය ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. නමුත් හිටපු අගමැතිතුමා කියනවා 2023 වෙනිකල් නායකත්වයෙන් අයින් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා.
අපිට ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ කිව්වා අපි ගත්තා.
We were told we will not be given presidential candidates, but we got one. We were told that the post of opposition leader will not be given, but we got that as well. We have created a path for the elections approved by the public and the party members, despite many decisions taken by our leaders to stop us. We would like to ask the people supporting our leader who is best suited for the leadership in the future. We have requested for a vote to solve this. It's better to hold a vote. We would like to humbly request the groups who are engaging in deal politics to stop that. We will not stop until the leadership is changed.
කුමන හෝ ක්‍රමයකින් අපි ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා කටයුතු කරන
හිටපු අගමැතිතුමාට පොලිස් ආරක්ෂාව 200ක් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒක සමාජයේ කතිකාවක් වෙනවා.
ඒක මම හිතන්නේ මේක
That question should be asked from the Minister of Defence and the Defence Secretary. We would like to know as to why Ranil Wickremesinghe receives this many special facilities under the current government. From that you can clearly understand the political situation in the country.
වශයෙන් මොකද්ද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියලා
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා
Ranil Wickremesinghe and his supporters have joined the Rajapaksa government and have taken contracts to reveal UNP secrets and make the party lose in the upcoming election. Our leader has no intention of bringing victory to the party. He has gotten all the special facilities he wanted from the government. Over 10,000 UMPers who have gotten appointments were all abandoned and he doesn't talk about it. The public knows the reason. He's not giving up the leadership because he is helping Mahinda Rajapaksa.
මුළු මහත් ජනතාවගේම අදාළ බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉන්නකොට මේගොල්ලෝ රැක්කා.
When the former regime was in power, they protected the current regime. And now the former regime knows that in order to survive, they must make deals with the current regime. Ranil is not leaving because of the deals him and Mahinda have. The poor who are trying to survive gets thrown in jail when the people who were involved in the bond scam roam free. The current government is acting like the bond scam was done by a different group. Will the government that did not release the forensic audit of the central bank bond issuance from Parliament for 2 months catch thieves? No, they will not. During the daytime, they blame each other, and at night, they rob the people together.
පේන්න රණ්ඩු වෙලා දවල්ට රැට එකට හොරකමේ යන ජාතියේ හොර මුල් දෙකක්.
Why is the government scared of this now? If they present the forensic audit, we will be able to find out who exactly did what. This is what they are scared of. This was not only done by the previous government, but has been happening even in the government before that. It may have been happening from even before that. We can see that some of the current officials, they too are not pure.
Representatives of the governing party levelled criticism against the government for the delay in taking action against those who are charged with allegations of corruption, including the central bank bond scam.
There was an individual who suffered a heart attack. Now that person has risen again and says that he is ready to work for the common alliance. As a responsible government, why can't the leaders in the government understand that Rajitha Senaratne has deceived even those who implemented the law? Therefore, we would urge the government to take speedy action. If not, the people of the country will be frustrated with the government.
කරන්න එහෙම කරේ නැතුනොත් මේ රටේ ජනතාව මේ ආණ්ඩුව පිළිබඳවත් කලකිරෙනවා.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මහජනතාව ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාගේ ජයග්‍රහණය වටා එකතු වුණෙත්
The Easter Sunday attacks, the bond scam are some of the reasons why the people rallied around the leadership of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We would like to request from the President to appoint a special presidential commission or based on the revelations made by the present commission to start implementing legal action on those who were found guilty. If not, the very thing that happened to the UNP will happen to us as well.
මේක අර හොද මඩේ දානවා වගේ කාරණාවක් බවට මහ බැංකු මෙදුම් කර සිද්ධියේ පත්වෙයි.
A cold war is currently brewing among politicians to secure nominations for the upcoming general election. An incident among hopeful candidates of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana was reported in Karandeniya, Galle today.
A group of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna supporters staged a vehicle parade this morning demanding that Dulshan Karyavasam should be given the opportunity to contest the general election from the Karandeniya electorate.
අපේ මේ නායකයා අපිට දෙන්න එච්චරයි අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ වන විට නම් කරලා තියෙන කරන්දෙනි ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවේ සභාපතිතුමා ඊටාම දූෂිතයෙක්.
Thereafter, the protesters had visited Minister Ramesh Patirana at his residence for discussions. According to our correspondent, the minister had promised the protesters to provide a solution after holding discussions with party leaders. However, the chairman of the Karandeniya Pradesh Sabha, who is to be named as the candidate, expressed the following views.
I think he is an MP who crossed over from the UNP. He had to beg me to change the electoral division. I am deeply saddened about him. If the party decides to name someone else to contest, I have no issue with it. We cannot let a group of opportunists do as they please.
Meanwhile, the SLFP media spokesperson had this to say about the agreement that had been reached between the two parties.
There was an agreement during the previous presidential election. The agreement was to provide at least 1/3 of the nominations to the SLFP. That was the basis for the agreement. That is how we intend to operate.
Meanwhile, UNP MP Ajit Manna Peruma extended an invitation to the President.
Now the government says that they need a 2/3 majority in parliament to fulfill the promises made to 6.9 million voters. If you cannot do it, give the government to us. This is a dispute between the elder and the younger brother over the 19th Amendment. Generally, when the President arrives in Parliament to make his throne speech, he is welcomed by the Speaker and the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister did not go. We can see a crisis within their party. We would like to tell Gotabaya Rajapaksa that if he cannot work with his family and members of his party, we are ready to support you. You can come on to our stage. We will not hold you back like the Rajapaksas.
A SLFP party meeting was held in Hinguragoda Polonnaruwa yesterday. It was chaired by the former President Maithripala Sirisena.
දැන් මාර්තු මාසයේ 3 වෙනිදා ලබන පාර්ලිමේන්තුව විසිර වෙනවා.
Parliament will be dissolved on the 3rd of March. As a party, according to the agreements that we signed, all of us will be contesting together this election. Now, Gotabaya Rajapaksa has no power in the parliament. This happened to me also, and now the same thing has happened to him. Why is that? When I became the president, it was Mahinda Rajapaksa who had the power with 142 seats. I made Ranil Wickremesinghe the Prime Minister, and he had only 47 seats in Parliament. But in that first year, Mahinda Rajapaksa fully supported me until the general election in August 2015. As a result, we were able to pass several important laws and regulations with the 2/3 majority.
සලට ඉතා අවශ්‍යව තිබුණු අනපනත් රාශියක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ 3/2 බලයෙන් සම්මත කළ යුතු සම්මත කරන්න.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Prime Time News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.